Call the roll and establish quorum, please.
Sure. Darren Van Tinglet.
Present.
Dave Tomato.
Here.
Curtis Good.
Here.
Mike Duran.
Present.
So the record would show we have 7 board members, so we do have one.
Excellent. Please join me in the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public comment for items not on the agenda this morning? Excellent. So now we're going to turn it over to the ALJ for our reinstatements.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move on the record.
The
Microphone.
Can you hear me?
No, thank you.
Perfect. Good. On the record. We are today before the Structural Pest Control Board for the Department of Consumer Affairs, State of California, to review 2 petitions for reinstatement that have been filed. We'll call the cases in the order that they appear on the agenda. The first petition is by Juan Christian Flores. This is Field Representative License Number 37996 and OAH case number 2019060889. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I am an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings that's been assigned to preside over this matter. Today is July 17th, 2019, just after 8 a.m. in Sacramento, California. Will all the members of the board please identify themselves for the record, starting first with the board member on my furthest right.
Mike Duran, industry member.
Dave Tamayo.
Darren Van Steenwyk.
Curtis Good.
And I believe that we have a quorum of the board present today. May I please take the appearance of the Attorney General?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Tim McDonough, Deputy Attorney General, appearing here on behalf of the people of the state of California, pursuant to Government Code Section 11522.
Good morning, Mr. McDonough. And may I have the appearance of the petitioner, please? Why don't you step up to the table here? And if you could just state your name solid for the record.
Juan Christian Flores, JUAN, CHRISTIAN, Flores, FLORES.
Good morning, Mr. Flores.
Morning.
So before this hearing off the record, I explained the procedures in this matter to the petitioner. I explained that the Deputy Attorney General will first proceed with providing an orientation in this matter, and after that, the petitioner will have a right to make a presentation under oath on his own behalf to explain why he believes that his license should be reinstated. The petitioner also has the right to call witnesses to testify on his own behalf, and the petitioner and any witnesses will be subject to questioning by both the board members and the Deputy Attorney General. As I emphasized, the board at this point is particularly concerned with rehabilitation that the petitioner may have engaged in. The petitioner is reminded that the board has had the benefit of reading the petition package, so it's not necessary to repeat everything that's in the package, although you're welcome to emphasize any points you'd like to emphasize. After the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate, and the petitioner will receive a decision in the mail, but not today. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions at this point?
No questions at this point.
Right. At this point, I'll turn it over to the Deputy Attorney General to provide an orientation and present the petition packet.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, I'd like to mark for identification offered evidence Exhibit 1 is the original petition packet with accompanying documents.
Sir, will you move the microphone closer to you, please? Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd like to enter to evidence Exhibit 1, the original petition packet with accompanying documents. These are documents that the board members and petitioner have been provided with.
Thank you very much.
Your Honor, I'll briefly explain the documents in the exhibit. There is the June correspondence from the board confirming today's date to the petitioner. There is also an email exchange from the petitioner and the staff here at the Structural Pest Control Board explaining that he can attend this hearing, which is references the changes in location for today's hearing. There is a November 29, 2018 letter from the board regarding guidelines for petitions for reinstatement or reduction of penalty, with the guidelines confirmed received by Mr. Flores on the third page. That's signed on March 7th, 2019. There is a petition for reinstatement of revoked field representative license FR 37996, branch 1, and that was submitted by petitioner and signed on March 7th, 2019. That's 2 pages. There's also a petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration, which is signed and dated March 7th, 2019. That's 2 pages as well. There's a request for live scan service for petitioner. Then, Your Honor, there's the letter and decision and order for accusation number 2017-65 regarding the accusation against Rex Fumigation of California. Julio de la Mora, the president, and Juan Christian Flores, field representative license number FR 37996, who is the petitioner, obviously, in this case. And that decision had an effective date of February 16th, 2018, in which petitioner's field representative license was revoked. Also attached is accusation number 2017-65, which is 22 pages. There is also the license history for petitioner's field representative license, which was originally issued on December 3rd, 2004, and then subsequently on May 9th, 2017, accusation number 2017-65 was filed, and on February 16th, 2018, the effective date for the decision and order and accusation number 2017-65, which revoked petitioner's field representative license. There's also a single page, which is a copy of Business and Profession Code, section 8505.12, which discusses requirements to use a warning agent. It's 1 page. There's also a November 18th, 2015 letter from the California Department of Pesticide Regulations regarding warning agent waiver requests for structural fumigation. Your Honor, that is a brief explanation of the materials in Exhibit 1, and I would ask that they be entered into evidence.
Mr. Flores, do you have any objection to admission of Exhibit 1 for consideration by the board?
I'm not sure which one's the exhibit that you guys are talking about.
The Exhibit 1 is the entire petition packet. That's in
Oh,
front
this
of
whole thing.
you, the whole thing.
I mean, as of right now, I don't object to it.
All right. Exhibit 1 is admitted for all purposes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time I'll proceed with a brief summary of the case.
Thank you.
The board issued petitioner's field representative license number FR 37996 in branch 1 on December 3rd, 2004. On May 9th, 2017, accusation number 2017-65 was filed. It was filed against Rex Fumigation of California, which is a registered company, along with the president of that company, Julio de la Mora, who was the president and held the operator's license, as well as Mr. Juan Christian Flores, who was the field representative with the company. The accusation contained 2 causes for discipline against all the respondents, including petitioner, for 1, failure to use and document use of a warning agent in violation of Business and Profession Code sections 8505.4, section 8505.12, section 8620, section 8636, section 8641, and section 8646, as well as regulation, California Code of Regulations, Title 16, Section 1970, as well as California Food and Agricultural Code, Section 12973. The second cause for discipline being negligence and gross negligence in violations of business or professional code, Sections 8620, Sections 8642, and Section 8643. Note with regards to petitioner, the accusation also noted a previous citation issued against him, specifically that in a prior action with a file number of 243-1402, the County of Santa Clara Department of Agricultural and Environmental Management and the Agricultural Division fined respondent or petitioner Flores $700 based on his failure to follow proper procedures in the use of sulfuryl fluoride. The basis underlying accusation number 2017-65 involved a fumigation project at the Pathfinder Village apartment development in Fremont, California, which occurred on or about May 18, 2016. The attempted fumigation project was conducted by Rex Fumigation, petitioner's employer, and petitioner was the field representative in charge of the project. The project required the use of a fumigation product called Master Fume, also known as sulfuride fluoride. Sulfuride fluoride is a toxic gas which possesses no intrinsic warning properties. Therefore, the product label and applicable law require that a warning agent, chloropicrin, be introduced along with the sulfuryl fluoride for safety reasons. Chloropicrin is a nerve gas that has a pungent odor and causes physical discomfort. It serves as a warning to any person who might unwittingly enter the premises during fumigation. Petitioner Flores failed to utilize chloropicrin in the project. It should be noted that he had been ordered by his supervisor, respondent Julio de la Mora, not to use it, based on the reasoning that Rex Fumigation had hired a security guard to patrol the building 24 hours a day. During the fumigation project, an individual entered the premises of one of the buildings and was exposed to sulfur fluoride. That individual was rushed to the hospital, but died as a result of the exposure. The individual had entered the building through an unlocked window with the intent to burglarize the building and appeared to be aware that there was a fumigation underway. After being in the building about 15 minutes, he exited and approached the security guard as he was having problems breathing. It was then he was taken to the hospital where he died as a result of sulfuryl fluoride toxicity. Also, respondent Flores failed to adequately complete the fumigation logs for the project, in that he failed to document the use of any warning agent. It should be noted that petitioner had completed a training course on the use of sulfuryl fluoride entitled Master Flume Stewardship 2016. Just prior to that project on April 26, 2016. On November 28, 2017, a hearing was conducted on accusation number 2017-65 in Oakland, California. On February 16, 2018, petitioner's field representative license number 37996 was revoked as a result of the decision and order in accusation number 2017-65. Your Honor, that concludes my presentation of the documentary evidence and case history. I am prepared to ask questions of petitioner whenever deemed appropriate.
Thank you very much, Mr. McDonough. All right, Mr. Flores, now is your opportunity to provide the board with testimony and evidence. I'm assuming you'd like to testify on your own behalf?
Yes.
All right. And I'll just remind you again that the board has the benefit of the package that's been submitted, so you don't need to repeat anything necessarily, but you're welcome to highlight or emphasize anything, as well as let us know anything that you believe is relevant to your petition. Okay. If you'd like to testify, I'll swear you in. Perfect. Just stand up for me and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony that you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much. Please have a seat. And once more, if you could just state your name and spell it for the record.
Juan Christian Flores, Juan Christian Flores.
Thank you very much. And please proceed.
The only thing I would like to explain is, as he stated, they gave me they pretty much told me not to put chlorpicrin into this building. Being the licensee on the job, I'm aware that I should know my rules and regs. So my ignorance caused me to follow somebody else's order, and because of that, I'm penalized for it. I just figured Julio de la Mora being in fumigation, for more than 15 years, and then Scott Howe being, Scott Howe was once one of the board members for pest control. I mean, you figure they would know the rules and regulations, and because I was under the impression, because of what they gave us in a training or in a meeting, that having security, you have that option to put chlorpicrin or not. So that was my I was under the impression just because I was giving orders by them, and so it's obvious that that's not the way things are. It's not the way we didn't follow protocol, in other words, properly, and that's all I can really say is it's what happened. The incident that happened was a really serious one, and it's something that should have been avoided. And that's all I can really say on my behalf is, because I feel like what happened to me now, it's like everybody's learned from it, because I'm sure now that everybody's giving training on as to you have to have chlorpicrin even if there's a 24-hour security on site. And yeah, it was a possible mistake that anybody in my position has no chance in even could have been avoided if the owner of the company and then Scott Howe being the operator, you just wouldn't question their what would it be called? You wouldn't question their judgment or ability to proceed in a structural fumigation. That's all I have to say for now.
Thank you, Mr. Flores. Mr. McDonough, do you have any questions?
Yeah, sure.
Please proceed.
Mr. Flores, you and I spoke about 15 minutes ago here before we started, and you mentioned to me about some classes that you took after this incident. Did you want to kind of explain that to the board?
After the incident happened, within not even a week, we did have training, 2 different types of training, regarding pest control and the rules and regulations, and we kind of went over it. And I was trying to figure out how I can get a hold of, the hours of the training, but the company shut down. It's like, I don't know who to ask. De la Mora wants nothing to do with fumigation. I tried reaching out to him, and I just couldn't get an answer from him or anything. So I wanted to present that, but yes, we did have training right after the incident, just to gained training as to the procedures of what we're supposed to conduct in a fumigation. In a fumigation job.
Mr. Flores, as a result of your the incident on May 18, 2016, obviously a man died. And, could you describe any feelings or your perspective on that aspect of it?
You know, it wasn't easy. You know, I feel sorry for the victim and his family, and you know, being the licensee and being responsible. I mean, this is a huge weight that has been carried upon me. You know, it's like it's not something that you can avoid or not think about. So it didn't just affect just the family. It didn't affect just the company. It affected me personally in my own, you know, my own life. And because as a result of that, well, I don't have a license and I don't even have a job. And everybody kind of stigmatized me in a certain way for what, you know, the rumors that I've been hearing and stuff like that. So it's not an easy subject, you know. And I think a lot of us got affected by it. I mean, to the point where the company shut down. And it wasn't just me; it's all the workers and everybody else. And yeah, it's been a real tough. It's a really tough situation to be in, and I carried the burden of everything that happened. You know, and it was a simple mistake, but a real serious and costly mistake. And that's something that I'm not going to be able to get rid of out of my own, you know, feelings or thoughts.
Mr. Flores, your petition for reinstatement indicates that most recently you worked at Santa Ynez Valley Pest Control. And what type of work did you do for this company?
I continued doing the same procedure. It's the same company, just different name. All I couldn't do is you know, do any kind of fumigation. Actual, I couldn't use any fumigant or anything like that. But I did do the same, you know, setting up the house and setting up, you know, everything just other than shooting gas into a building.
And you also indicated in your petition for reinstatement that you went on disability from March 1st, 2018 through April 22nd, 2018.
Correct.
And then after coming off of disability, did you return to the...
I have not returned.
Okay, what have you been doing since April 22nd, 2018?
I'm still before the company shut down. I got shoulder injuries and also a hernia. So I've been on disability and trying to recover and through physical therapy and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're currently not employed.
I'm not employed. And I mean, without a licensee, I can't. You know, nobody wants to really hire me because everything involves licensee work or it's heavy. You know, heavy. It's just like a heavy duty type of job.
And essentially, your work career has been in structural pest control since April of 2004 till the revocation of your license.
Yes.
You heard my recitation of the facts. Do you agree that you completed a training course on the use of sulfuryl fluoride entitled Master Fume Stewardship on April 26, 2016? You remember that?
I don't remember the dates or anything like that, but we did have extensive training as to the fumigants or just procedures.
And before the May 18th.
Before. Mm-hmm.
Do you have an appreciation of why the Structural Pest Control Board expects you to follow the rules and regulations relating to fumigating or any other aspect of structural pest control, even if instructed not to by your supervisor?
Yes, I think, rules are set, and laws are set for a reason, and it's really important to follow them to avoid incidents like this. That's what I'm saying. Even though this was a real tragic situation, it could only improve in the future for fumigation companies, because now within their training they could let people know, like, hey, you have to have chlorpicrin regardless if there's a security guard or not. And so yeah, I respect the rules and regulations as to what somebody needs to be following.
And the reason for putting the chlorpicrin in as well as the fumigation is because it will have properties that will essentially irritate someone immediately upon entering, and obviously encourage them to leave.
Mm-hmm. Correct. After this incident, through talking to others, we have the understanding that it is possible not to put chlorpicrin in a structure, but we first have to get permission, submit certain documentation, is what we found out. So, an example is like a museum. The chlorpicrin can damage, the arts from a museum. So that's when it's maybe okay not to put, but with following orders as getting permission from the county or whatever, wherever the structures, counties that. So those kinds of things we found out afterwards, that what we did was not proper procedure, even though there is a 24-hour security on site.
Okay, so you are aware that to legally fumigate a structure without chlorpicrin, is it chlorpicrin? Thank you. You must obtain a waiver from the county agricultural commissioner's office.
Yes.
Did you or Rex Fumigation conduct fumigations without using chlorpicrin previous to the May 18, 2016 fumigation?
No.
If you could go back to May 18, 2016, obviously the day of that Pathfinder Village apartment fumigation, what, if anything, would you do differently?
Well, first of all, put chlorpicrin. And then second of all, maybe seeing the security guard there, maybe give them a rundown as to what to expect. We've done many fumigations where there is security, but they don't know what to look for. So giving them a brief instruction as to what to look for can also help out prevent somebody from going in. So that day, seeing how many buildings we fumigated, I believe it was like 8 or 9 huge buildings, 3-story buildings. For one security guard, that is just too big of an area to cover for one security guard.
And so would you, knowing what you know today, would you feel confident that you would be able to approach a supervisor that you might have and explain, laws that require using chloropicrine and insist on using chloropicrine even if it was contrary to his orders?
Definitely, because safety is first. If I was to ever come across a situation like that, I will sure point that out and not proceed. If I know that it's illegal to proceed fumigation.
Since your license was revoked, have you taken any classes, say continuing education classes, to keep up with changes and advances in the structural pest control industry?
After my license was revoked and all these changes of the company and the company shutting down, nobody had informed me that I could take extra classes or training. Recently, I started asking questions about 4 months ago, and I started calling up companies to see if maybe they're having a training so that I'll be able to attend and then hopefully get some hours in and keep up with the new laws that are out, or the new laws and regs that are out right now. I just found out that I can go to, I think, San Jose. They have you can go on the computer and make up some of those hours as well for training. I wasn't aware of that. So now that I know that much, I'm willing to attend, training or any kind of training that I might need to do in order for me to be up to date and and hopefully receive my license again.
In the decision by the board that ultimately revoked your field representative license, it indicated that you received a civil penalty in June of 2014 in the amount of $700 for activity involving the proper procedures in the use of sulfur fluoride. What happened in that situation?
What happened was on the paperwork, it didn't indicate that there was a conduit leading to a small shed in the backyard. As I circled the perimeter of the house, I seen the conduit, but it was leading back to the house. When I had asked the owner if there was any conduits, he said there wasn't. On top of that, the previous inspector, which was from Western, he conducted that there was no conduits as well. So when the structure was fumigated, the inspector showed up and they happened to see that the conduit did lead to a structure and detached from the house. And that's what happened. So I was fined They fined $700 to me, and they fined the person in charge of or the inspector from Western.
And you paid that $700?
Correct.
What are your plans should the board decide to reinstate your field representative license?
If I'm granted the opportunity to receive my license again, like I said, with proper training and further looking into, to conduct a proper fumigation, just to better know what I'm doing for next time, or are the steps that I would take and become, I'm gonna say it again, that this was a costly mistake, but I think it also helps out all of us to become better fumigators for the future. And so I just, I would like an opportunity to have my license back.
If the board were to reinstate your license, would you be willing, as a condition precedent to getting your license, to take the most recent examination for a field representative license?
Can you rephrase that?
Yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't well done. Would you be willing to take the most recent field representative license before getting your license back, if the board were to decide that you could be reinstated?
Yes. I'll take whatever measures I need to take for me to receive my license back.
Is there any other information that you would like to provide to the board in support of your request for reinstatement?
I really don't have anything else other than what I've said already, and just hope for another shot of just having my license. I can fumigation is all I really know since I received my license in 2004, and that's all I really know what to do or how to do, and I would like just another opportunity to maybe not just become a licensee, but maybe become something more than just that in a company. That's pretty much it.
Those are the questions I have, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. McDonough. And now we'll find an opportunity for board members to ask any questions they'd like of petitioner, starting with Mr. Duran.
Mr. Flores, since you got your license, your field rep license, the board felt that you were qualified to obtain that license to perform fumigations. Have you, at any time or any point in all your continued education courses that you had taken to maintain that license, did you see it written anywhere where you could actually take the supervisor's advice not to put chlorobecquin in a fumigation?
No, that was a mistake of mine.
It was very costly mistake because we lost a life.
Yes.
And you're telling the board, you're telling us that you were not aware that you continued taking courses in investment or in fumigation to upgrade your knowledge?
I wasn't aware because when the incident happened, they didn't inform me that I could, and that they kind of just left me to dry. In other words, that I wasn't going to be able to get my license again, and so there was nothing really I can do other than wait. And what they informed me as well was after the year of probation, that I could go ahead and try to reinstate. And that's all the information I was given.
One last question. On that conduit that was missed by the inspector, when you go to perform a termite inspection and you gotta set your tarps up, do you actually make that visual inspection to make sure that everything is safe?
Yes, I actually do. The problem with that conduit was there was from what I remember correctly, there was like some kind of a structure almost in front of it, so you couldn't really see that there was an actual conduit leading out the house. And the portion of it that you did see, it seemed like it would go right back into the house. So that's why I didn't think that it was leading out to anywhere else.
But it was noted by the inspector from the agricultural department.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Board member Tamayo, do you have any questions?
No.
And Mr. President, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I've got a few. So you said you're using Masterfume?
Correct.
Or you were using Masterfume at that point? And you talked about the stewardship program, the annual stewardship program. Who gave you that training? Company? Was it the rep? Was it the people you're buying it from?
It was the people we were buying it from.
Okay.
For what I remember.
Okay, and they didn't, and at no point in time, between 2004 and 2016, you remember hearing that PIC is required?
The first time we heard that it was an option if there was security guard on site, for what I remember correctly, it was maybe about 2 years prior to the incident happening. So because we've heard about it through our management, we figured it was okay. And it just happened that that's the day that we didn't use it, and that's the day that the incident happened. So before that, they told us several times. So we figured, okay, since Scott Howe is part of, the pest control board, they know what's going on within the structure of pest control, and that's why I figured, well, they know what they're talking about, and I just kind of followed orders.
And then you said, so Rex fumigation shut down, and then San Ynez Pest Control opened up.
Right.
Okay, so who I didn't quite get this. Who owned San Ynez?
It's a little confusing. So Robert Howe was the owner. Robert Howe sold it to De La Mora, but because of the incident, Robert Howe was trying to help out De La Mora by buying the company back, while the probation, while me and Julio De La Mora were on probation, would be cleared, then he was going to sell it back to Julio. But from my understanding, I found out that Robert Howe he has cancer, so he just kind of gave everything up. He didn't want nothing to do with fumigation and De La Mora as well. Being in De La Mora's situation, he cannot have, or he cannot buy the company back because he's not in any position to have a company again.
So who specifically did you work for at San Ynez then?
San Ynez was for Robert Howe.
Okay, and so he was your direct supervisor.
Correct.
So Bob Howell was the one out shooting gas on those jobs.
No,
Who was shooting gas on those jobs?
it was the other licensees.
Okay. And then because you mentioned that basically since this specific event you haven't received any other training. So does that mean that when San Ynez had trainings, because they would have also go through stewardship programs, so you didn't participate in any of those?
Santa Ynez was only in existence for me about, I believe, 3 or 4 months, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but during those 3 or 4 months, they didn't have any trainings at all. That's what I'm getting from you right
Yeah, I can't recall if we did or not. I don't remember.
Okay.
I want to say yes, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Just maybe try to clear one thing up quickly.
Yeah.
Mr. Flores, you did mention to me prior to the hearing that subsequent to this incident, and I think it was at Rex fumigation, though, you did have some training, correct?
Right after the incident, we had training. I think we had two trainings within not even 2 weeks. So it was not. I don't remember if it was chlorpicrin and the master fume. I'm not sure, but we did have training though. Like right after the incident.
What was the decision to hire a guard for that job versus using PIC in that situation? The initial one for Rex.
No, we didn't hire the guards. It was actually the management of the apartment complex. So, I mean, having them there, I mean, that's why we figured, oh, they're going to be here 24 hours, and that's why we didn't put chlorpicrin.
Okay. Thanks.
And I believe Mr. Tamayo just mentioned to me that you might have a question, so please proceed.
Yes, thank you. I was hoping that you could expand on your thoughts about how your your failure to put chlorpicrin in, what your responsibility is for the consequences that occurred, the demise of the person who entered the building.
Can you rephrase that?
Well, I just kind of wanted to know to what extent do you how do you think about your responsibility for the death of that person?
Well, like I was saying, because I took orders, and I don't know, I just feel like if I was kind of like a puppet, like I was used, my name's on there, and therefore by obeying what my manager at the time, or the owner of the company, by his orders, I just feel like it was a terrible mistake on my behalf on proceeding, and it's serious, not putting chlorpicrin into a building. We would question it sometimes, but we didn't, because it's like it's coming from the management. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question.
No, that's fine. I just kind of wanted to hear what you thought about it. And when you're issued a license, who, in your mind, who is your responsibility to under that license?
Myself. Well, if I'm issued a license, then yeah, I need to protect that license, and that's why my ignorance is what is causing me to where I'm at now.
When you had more or less annual training on the use of the fumigants. I'm not sure when you started using sulfurofluoride, but did you have annual training?
Yes.
That? And then was that through the entire since 2004?
Correct.
At any point, did any of those trainings describe what the purpose of the chloropicrin was?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a warning agent to keep people away, let them hit their eyes, and not let them want to go into the building. It's what it stands for, warning agent, the warn.
And so then what would be the consequence if you don't put it in there? What kind of warning do you get from sulfurofluoride if there's no chlorpicrin?
There is no warning, since it's odorless. The only thing, from keeping a person inside is having the actual tarps wrapped around and signs all over the building, and they avoided the tarps, and they avoided the signs. And that's what caused this to happen. And the chlorpicrin would have helped out, if it would have hit their eyes, keep them away. But in this case, since it didn't have any warning agent, they were able to ransack a couple apartments.
Thank you.
Mr. Good, do you have questions for petitioner?
Yes, I have a couple. Mr. Flores, when the order came down that day not to include chlorpicrin or put chlorpicrin in the job, did you make any attempt to decline or question at the job site?
Decline
not to do that.
Not to put chlorpicrin?
Yes.
No, I did not.
And was Mr. De La Mora, was he on the job site?
Yes,
he was there. He was standing there with you at the time.
Yes.
And what about Scott Howell?
No.
He wasn't there.
No.
Were people in contact with him over the phone?
When the incident happened, yes, but not before.
No, I meant regarding the decision not to put chlorpicrin. Did somebody call him and say, hey, Should we not use chlorpicrin here? What's your thoughts?
I can't say no, I wasn't around any conversation of that matter.
Okay, so factually, you know that was just Mr. De La Mora that was instructing you not to put the chlorpicrin in there.
Correct.
Okay. And you didn't question him any further.
I didn't.
Okay. So you were responsible for the log, right? The fumigation log?
Correct.
And if I recall correctly, in reading through here, that on the fumigation log, the little section for chlorpicrin, you know, you post what time was shot and stuff like that when you introduced it. What did you put there? Do you recall?
I recall I put no pick.
I think you put in there, no pick, guard posted, correct?
Correct.
Who instructed you to do that?
I believe it was De La Mora, actually.
De La Mora. Did you ever think at some point saying, hey, I don't think this is right, why don't you take the log and you sign it?
I didn't. I didn't just because of what I said earlier, that prior to that incident, there was talks about that it was a possibility that having a guard on site, it was an option for us, depending on the area of the fumigation. Because it was a bed bug job, and there were so many apartment complexes. De La Mora thought that by not putting tear gas in there or chlorpicrin, it wouldn't.
Let me ask you a question. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I understand that he did this. But why would that be any difference when you say bed bug versus termite? There's no difference, really, is there?
There's no difference as to the gas, but the dosage.
Well, the dosage, but still the chlorpicrin's still the same.
Correct.
There's no difference.
There's no difference, but because De La Mora said not to put chlorpicrin because of the surrounding area, because there's more dosage inside the structure, he felt that it was going to harm the other structures where people were living in. Because this is a huge apartment complex, and half the building was being fumigated, and the other half people were still living in there. So he felt because of the area, he didn't want to put tear gas because that tear gas was going to affect surrounding areas. So he thought, okay, there's 24-hour security, let's not put tear gas. And also for what I remember, his decision making on not putting chlorpicrin was because there's so many apartment complexes that had a bunch of baby mattresses, and so the chlorpicrin, he was afraid that it was also going to penetrate into these people's living, that it wasn't going to be able to clear out in time for them to go in, and he was trying to avoid that as well.
Yeah, I read there was hoarding conditions, and I understand kind of the logic, but I mean, it still makes no sense. Chlorpicrin, it's a standalone product. It has nothing to do with the sulfurfluoride whatsoever. So it's a horrible decision. It's sad that you ended up signing the log.
Yes.
That's what got you in trouble. If you would have just simply said, hey, this is your job, turn it over to him, you wouldn't be sitting before us today.
I understand.
Don't let somebody talk into something you know that might be wrong.
Definitely.
Question it. Very unfortunate. Thank you for your time today.
Mr. McDonough, did any further questions occur to you for petitioner?
I do not have any further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have. Mr. Forrest, on page 6, and I believe it's number 28, it says, Forrest feels badly for the individual who died, as well as for De La Mora, himself, and other employees. How do you equate both of those losses? It's hard for me to understand and comprehend how you can equate the death of the person versus the employees and the owner of the company.
Well, I just felt that because of the mistake that we both did, like I said earlier, it didn't just affect the victim, it affected all of us in general, and even De La Mora's family as well. And that's something that we have to carry now. on our shoulder, and De La Mora feels bad, tremendous, for the family, and so that's why I mentioned that in my statement, because it affects all of us. Me and him had to go back and forth, and we couldn't, to talk about it. It's not easy at all.
Item number 31. This gets me a little concerned here because I have to make a decision. I want to make sure that I hear from you. It says that when the Lamora toured the apartment building before the fumigation, he noted that some tenants did nothing to repair, and that there were toys and children. And he still continued with the fumigation, and you still continued to go forth? Or did that go back to the tenants? Did somebody go back to the tenants and make sure that it was all prepared for fumigation?
There were many apartments that were not prepared. As a licensee on the job, it is our responsibility to prepare the structure for the fumigant. So what they didn't do, we did, and like I said, we took out the mattresses that they left behind, food that was left behind, anything that would harm, a baby or kids, we would take out. And actually, De La Mora did not want us to even. He didn't want to deal with any. He didn't want to take the risk on leaving anything behind, so he just said throw everything out. So on his behalf, I knew that he felt that the procedures we did were proper, and so we took whatever precautions we could take at the moment to secure every apartment. Like I said, it was a lot of apartments, and it was a lot of work, and so to try to get every little thing out of every apartment, it was a huge task.
It's something that needs to be done.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, one more question. Thank you for it. It says that one of his concerns was that Clark Pickering was going to linger in the apartment and hurt inside. Is that the reason that it wasn't used?
No, that's not the reason. I believe it was in the summertime area where the Clark Pickering will linger inside vents and penetrate into especially if the apartments are, a lot of people living like in a hoarder living situation. But that's not the reason why. No.
And you did have Clark Pickering.
We did have Clark Pickering on every truck that we had on site.
Thank you very much. No.
Questions by any other board members? All right. Mr. Flores, did you want to say anything else on your behalf that we haven't already discussed?
Other than, I hope, you guys could just reconsider and give me another opportunity to have my license. That it's not an easy situation to be in, and especially the victim and the victim's family. And I just hope for a second chance.
And let me just check out of abundance of cautions. We have the petition packet. Were there any additional documents not in the petition packet that you wanted the board to consider?
I don't have any extra.
And did you have any other witnesses to testify on your behalf today?
No.
All right, thank you so much. Then that concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed and the case is submitted for decision, and we are off the record on this matter. Thank you, Mr. Flores.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have the next petitioner, Alonzo Contreras. If you could please come forward to the table here.
Judge, you're supposed to get a copy of this, right?
Yes, actually, thank you, Mr. Flores. My apologies, I should have reminded you, if you could just take a copy of the court reporter form, if you ever want to order a transcript, all the information's on there for you to do so.
Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you.
Have a seat, yeah. And if the court reporter can just let me know when you're ready, no rush. I really. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So he doesn't have to chase him down too far. Wonder how far he made it out. Oh, no apologies needed. Just let me know when you're ready and we can get started. All right. We are on the record before the Structural Pest Control Board, Department of Consumer Affairs for the state of California. We are now going to consider the second petition for reinstatement on the calendar today by petitioner Alonzo G. Contreras III. This is operator's license number 11760 and OAH case number 2019-061038. My name is Wim Van Rooyen. I'm an administrative law judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings that have been assigned to preside over this matter. Today is July 17th, 2019, at just after 9 a.m. in Sacramento, California. For the record, could all the members of the board identify themselves? Again, starting with the board member on my furthest right.
Mike Duran.
Dave Tamayo.
Darren Van Steenwyck.
Curtis Good.
Thank you very much. We have a quorum of the board present to proceed with the petition hearing today. May I please take the appearance of the Attorney General?
Thank you, Your Honor. Tim McDonough, Deputy Attorney General, appearing here on behalf of the people of the state of California pursuant to California Government Code Section 11522.
Good morning, Mr. McDonough. And could I have the appearance of the petitioner, please? If you could state your name and spell it for the record.
Alonzo Contreras, Alonzo, last name Contreras.
Good morning, Mr. Contreras.
Good morning.
And just to remind you again, before the hearing this morning, off the record, I had explained the procedures in this matter, and I explained that the Deputy Attorney General will provide a brief orientation of the case today, and then you will have a right to make a presentation on your own behalf and explain why you believe your license should be reinstated. You have the right to call any witnesses on your behalf and obviously testify yourself. Any witnesses, including yourself, will be subject to questioning by Mr. McDonough, the Deputy Attorney General, as well as by members of the board. And again, just to remind you that the proceeding today is particularly concerned with rehabilitation that you may have engaged in. The board has already had the benefit of reading your petition package, so you don't necessarily need to repeat everything in it, but if you want to highlight anything or provide any additional information, that would be appreciated. And then after the hearing, the board will go into a closed session to deliberate. You won't receive a decision today, but a decision will come in writing in the mail. All right, any questions? No. Thank you. All right, I'll turn it over to the Deputy Attorney General to orient us to this particular matter and introduce the petition packet.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I would like to first mark for identification and offer into evidence as Exhibit 1 the original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided a copy of the same set of this exhibit. May I approach now?
Please, thank you. Thank you.
I'll give you a brief explanation of the documents, Your Honor. Included in the packet is the June correspondence from the board confirming today's date for the hearing, as well as a signed confirmation page from Mr. Contreras, dated June 21st, 2019. There is the March 2019 letter from the board to the petitioner regarding the guidelines for petitions for reinstatement or reduction of penalty, with the guidelines themselves confirmed received by the petitioner with his signature on page 3, and that's dated April 19th of 2019. The petition for reinstatement of revoked operator's license OPR 11760, which was issued at branch 3, submitted by petitioner and signed on April 9th, 2019, along with the petition for reinstatement of revoked license declaration, signed and dated April 9th, 2019. There's a request for live scan service from petitioner. There is a June 20th, 2019 memorandum from the Structural Pest Control Board staff explaining that petitioner paid $6,000 in cost recovery related to the stipulated settlement for first amended accusation number 2016-9 on February 15, 2018. The memo also indicates that petitioner had not provided proof to the registrar that restitution had been made to 4 consumers as required by the stipulated settlement prior to the issuance of a new or reinstated license. The memorandum explains that petitioner did pay the Structural Pest Control Board $2,500 related to a fine related to citation number CF 2018-8 for engaging in structural pest control after the effective date of the stipulated surrender of license and order. On January 19, 2016, Los Angeles County Agricultural Commissioner had issued petitioner a fine in the amount of $150 for failure to register. That fine was not paid. According to the memorandum, petitioner sent the Structural Pest Control Board a check for $150 made out to the Los Angeles County Agricultural Commissioner. This check was returned to petitioners, and copies of those checks explained in that memorandum are attached. Your Honor, the documents also contain the letter and decision and order in a prior petition for reinstatement, which had an effective date of the decision of June 29th, 2018, which denied petitioner's request for reinstatement of his operator's license. Also attached to the decision are documents related to the 2018 petition for reinstatement, including a Branch 3 pre-operator course certificate to petitioner dated March 9, 2018, which was part of the previous petition. The July 18, 2016 letter and decision and order, which was based on a stipulated surrender of license, is included, which resolved first amended accusation number 2016-9 against Blackout, Termite, and Pest Control with Alonzo Contreras and Marcos Morales. The company registration certificate number was PR 6902, and Mr. Contreras' operator's license number OPR 11760, and that decision had an effective date of August 17th, 2016, and that decision adopted the stipulation for surrender of petitioner's company registration certificate as well as his operator's license. The also included is a first amended accusation itself, number 2016-9. There's also the initial accusation, number 2016-9, included as well. there is this citation number CF 2018-8 issued to petitioner for engaging in structural pest control after voluntarily surrendering his license, which was violation of Business Profession Code section 8550 subdivisions A and E, and also for violating Business Profession Code section 8648 and California Code of Regulations Title 16 section 1999.5 for a total fine of $2,500. Included in those documents is the wood destroying pests and organisms inspection report dated 10/10/2016. Finally, Your Honor, there are license histories done by the Structural Pest Control Board for petitioner's operator's license, which was issued initially on October 10, 2008, and was surrendered on August 17, 2016, as a result of the decision in the first amended accusation. There's also the license history for petitioner's field representative license, number FR 42860, which was issued in branches 2 and 3 to petitioner on March 4th, 2008. The field representative license was canceled on June 30th, 2010 due to non-renewal. There is also license history for petitioner's field representative license number FR 36525, which was issued on October 17th, 2003. The representative license was canceled on June 30th, 2006 due to non-renewal. The license history for company registration certificate number PR 6902 was issued on November 12th, 2013, and that license was surrendered as part of the decision resolving first amended accusation number 2016-9 on August 17, 2016. And finally, Your Honor, the license history for a company registration number PR 5895 issued in branch 3 to Blackout Termite Control in July of 2009, with Frank Martinez as partner and petitioner, Alonzo Contreras as partner and qualifying manager. And on November 12, 2013, that company registration was canceled from the Structural Pest Control Board files due to the company registering as a sole owner. Your Honor, that is essentially an explanation of the documents that I have passed to you and are marked as Exhibit 1, and I would ask that Exhibit 1 be entered into evidence.
Thank you, Mr. McDonough. Mr. Contreras, do you have any objection to admission of Exhibit 1, all these documents that we were just discussing?
No.
Thank you very much. Exhibit 1 is admitted for all purposes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'll proceed with a brief summary of the case.
Thank you, Mr. McDonough.
The board issued petitioner's operator's license number OPR 11760 in branch 3 on October 10th, 2008. On April 6th, 2016, first amended accusation number 2016-9 against Blackout Termite and Pest Control and Alonzo Contreras and Marcos Morales. It was brought against petitioner's company registration certificate number PR 6902 and his operator's license number OPR 11760. The first amended accusation alleged violations of the Business Professions Code sections relating to two distinct projects that petitioner worked on, the Newmark Avenue project and the Blix Street project. The Newmark Avenue project was on August 22nd, 2014, when petitioner, on behalf of Blackout Termite and Pest Control, inspected the property located on West Newmark Avenue in Monterey Park, and it was a 4-unit condominium complex, and issued a limited wood-destroying pest and organisms inspection report. The inspection report contained 8 findings and recommendations. The section 1 findings identified evidence of subterranean termite infestations, dry wood termite infestations, and termite damage. The total price for the work was $10,049, with the breakdown for each unit as follows. The unit 135 for a John Chan was $2,491. The unit 135 for a Terry Chan was $2,221. Unit 133 for a Mei Wang was $2,796. And Unit 133 B for Freddie Lee was $2,541. Your Honor, several of the customers file complaints of misrepresentations, quality of work, unfinished work, and safety or liability issues. They also reported that he failed to report and complete the treatment and repairs as promised by petitioner. The investigation into this project found violations as follows. They found 10 causes for discipline based on this project. Failure to issue a timely and proper completion notice, violation of Business Professions Code 8518 and 8641, gross negligence and fraud, violation of Business and Professions Code 8642 and 8516, subdivision B7 and section 8638. A cause for disregard of the building laws, a cause for aiding and abetting unlicensed activity in violation of Business and Professions Code 8639, the negligent handling of poisonous exterminating agent, failure to maintain evidence of an insurance policy in violation of Business and Professions Code 8691, 8692, and 8695, false and misleading advertising, failure to provide notice of pesticides in violation of Business Professions Code 8538, subdivision A2 and 8641, failure to maintain proper records, and failure to comply with report of findings, Business and Professions Code 8622 and 8641. Your Honor, the second aspect of the First Amendment accusation involved a project at the Bullock Street. And that occurred on January 12, 2016, where Mr. Contreras, on behalf of his company, Blackout Termite and Pest Control, inspected the property at 11107 Blick Street in West Toluca Lake in Los Angeles. This property is a single-family home. Petitioner Contreras concluded the home required treatment for subterranean termites and also for dry wood termites. Respondent Contreras offered to trench and treat the sub-area for the subterranean termites. For the dry termites, he offered either a spraying treatment or he offered to tent the house also as a treatment possibility. Respondent Contreras offered a guarantee for the spraying treatment, but no guarantee for the tenting. The homeowner opted for the spraying treatment. The homeowner and respondent, Blackout Termite, entered into an agreement, and the work was listed on the work order document that was given to the homeowner. The agreement stated that the Blackout Termite would conduct treatments on the home on February 2nd, 2016 for a total of $2,335. Subsequent to the project, the homeowner contacted the Structural Pest Control Board. An investigation into the matter revealed numerous problems on this project as well. There were violations and causes for discipline related to the Blick Street project as follows. And again, here there were 10 separate causes for discipline in the First Amendment accusation. Improper branch office in violation of Business and Professions Code 8509. Failure to provide report. Failure to issue a timely and proper completion notice in violation of Business and Professions Code Section 8518. Failure to provide notice of pesticides, Business and Professions Code 8538, subdivision A2 and 8641. Failure to properly supervise, that's in violation of Business and Professions Code 8610 Subdivision C, disregard of safety laws, aiding and abetting unlicensed activity, Business and Professions Code 8639, gross negligence and fraud. That's a violation of Business and Professions Code 8642, negligent handling of poisonous exterminating agents, and fraud or misrepresentation in violation of Business and Professions Code 8644. On August 17, 2016, the decision regarding the first amended accusation, which adopted a stipulated surrender of license and order. The stipulated surrender of license document, petitioner admitted the truth of each and every charge and allegation in the first amended accusation number 2016-9. The decision accepted the surrender of petitioner's operator's license. The stipulated surrender of license also indicated that petitioner would pay $6,000 in cost recovery to the Structural Pest Control Board prior to the issuance of a new or reinstated license. Also, the stipulated surrender of license document indicated that petitioner would provide proof to the registrar that restitution of $2,422 was made to Mr. John Chen. The restitution of $2,422 was made to Miss May Wang. That $750 in restitution was made to Miss Terry Chang, and $1,330 in restitution was made to Freddie Lee prior to the issuance of a new or reinstated license. Finally, Your Honor, on July 14, 2017, the operator's license was issued a $2,500 fine levied by the Structural Pest Control Board, citation number CF 2018-8, for violations of Business and Professions Code Section 8550, subdivisions A and E, and Section 8648, with the fine being paid on February 15, 2018, and the citation involved performing, the basis for the citation was for performing structural pest control work after the surrender of his license. Your Honor, that concludes my presentation of the documentary evidence and the case history. I am prepared to proceed with questions for the petitioner whenever deemed appropriate.
Thank you very much, Mr. McDonough. Okay, Mr. Contreras, now is your opportunity to present your case. As I reminded you earlier, the board has reviewed all of the evidence in the petition packet already, so there's no need to repeat everything, but you're welcome to emphasize or add to that information anything you believe is relevant.
Okay.
Did you intend to testify on your own behalf today?
Yes.
All right. Shall I swear you in? You could stand and please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly state, under penalty of perjury, that the testimony that you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Please have a seat. And again, if you could just state and spell your name for the record.
Alonzo Contreras, first name Alonzo, last name Contreras.
Thank you very much. You may proceed.
Judge, did you want me to hand out the packets or?
So my understanding is, did you bring some additional documents today that's
Yes.
not in the petition packet?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have recommendation letters here. I paid off the restitution to the customers, and then just documentations, certificates of courses I've taken since the last time I was here last year.
All right, and is that in a single packet together?
Yes, sir.
For each board member and
Yes.
myself? Okay, so why don't you bring those up here and we can distribute them?
And if I could have a copy as well.
Yes, please, and a copy for the Deputy Attorney General. Thank you very much. Right, and we're going to mark this for identification as Exhibit 2. And I'll just, for the record, go through what's included here. It looks like various recommendation letters, by individuals, as well as certificates for completing continuing education courses. It looks like copies are these checks, money orders.
Yes, Judge. The money orders to balance in the restitution.
I see.
And then the last page, or the last pages, were just confirmations that it was mailed. So now I did it yesterday, so they're receiving it all today.
These are that's to confirm the restitution money
Yes.
orders or checks. Okay,
Those are just the tracking numbers.
perfect. Okay. So that is altogether Exhibit 2. Mr. McDonough, did you have an opportunity to review all of these?
You know what, I haven't, Your Honor, but if I could have like 3 minutes.
Please, perfect. Yeah, and that way the board can review it as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't think I think it's an appropriate document. I don't have an objection. However, I would just ask for a little bit of a foundation or just an explanation regarding the copies of the checks would, I think, be helpful for me, if that's possible.
Certainly. Could you explain for us how these checks were prepared, for what purpose, and who you sent them to, etc.?
Yeah. So I went to go get the money orders. I just took copies of them so the board could see them because it was yesterday, and I was just gonna mail them out. So I just wanted you guys to see that the checks were mailed out and to the correct addresses with the correct balances.
So this is essentially your proof regarding the
Yeah, and I have the original stubs right here too. I just made copies because I didn't know what I needed to bring, so I have the original stubs all right here.
And
I don't need this original stuff.
we don't need the originals. No. And there are different amounts to different. It's sort of split up for different.
Yes, Judge.
Okay.
Yeah. I just the money orders they're not like cashier's checks. They only come in increments of the top is 500, so that's why there's multiple checks.
And these went out from the UPS store. Is that what that last document is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I have no objection to Exhibit 2.
Terrific. Then Exhibit 2 will be admitted for all purposes.
Okay.
And you can proceed with your testimony.
Yeah. So everything that you guys heard that was that I admitted to, it was 3-4 years ago. I feel like me as a person, I'm standing in front of the board. I came here last year, but even just from that last year to now, I feel a different person, a whole different mindset from who I was that made those decisions back at that time. I took a lot of I think there's only 6 certificates right here, but I actually had 9, but I guess they slipped out. But I wanted to read them off to you, the courses I took. Fundamentals of Economics, Entrepreneurship, Creating the Business, Leadership Skills in Business, Preparing to Manage Skills and Practices, Characteristics of a Successful Entrepreneur, Introduction to Service Management, Customer Relationship Management and Business Services, Sales Management, Business Ethics and Sales, and Fundamentals of Operations of Management. I chose these courses to show rehabilitation that I can run a business. I chose specifically management of operations, so I have a better hold and just kind of refreshing myself because I made a mistake. And I know that I had to live with it for these past few years, and it's something that I would never do again. I wouldn't risk my livelihood and wouldn't risk customers' safety. And honestly, those are the reasons why I picked those classes to show rehabilitation in those areas. During that time, last year I was able to put some time aside because the board did mention about if I was any help in my community. So August 2018, we attended Operation Gratitude. It's a service project that we helped collect over 400 items to donate to the troops to protect our country. We filled the boxes with items to go ahead and send to them. And basically, it was me and my son. I took my son so he could get out there too. We were stationed in front of Vons, and we would ask people that would come in to donate or pick up extra supplies, toothbrushes, or shampoo, or anything like that to go ahead and fill in this box. September, we went to Children's Hunger Fund warehouse in Sylmar. Basically, volunteered at a warehouse, and we help build little boxes too, just food. Excuse me, food for with pasta, beans. These boxes were not for. These were for children, with suffering children and families. And basically, they sent these around the world. So this wasn't just for our community. They would send these boxes around. November, I try to go to one every month. November, we ran Hope's Gardens Family Center, where they provide center cleanups. We just help clean up over there. And then in December, we actually we did a Adopt a Family Christmas Service project. And we were able to pick a family, but not just we were helping with other donators with the family. So we got a little girl that was 13 years old. We were able to get her movie tickets, which other volunteers and stuff got her clothes and stuff like that. So she had a good Christmas. Other community service was Hope of the Valley. We created a gift bag for, I'm not sure who it went to, but it was for men and women who were homeless. And our last one that we did was, this one was in March, called Shane's Inspiration. And it's basically an international nonprofit organization in Sherman Oaks. Basically, their mission is dedicated to designing and developing playgrounds for children with disabilities. So we got to hang out with the kid that was disabled and just have fun with them. Just enlighten his day. And that was pretty much it for my community service. So in the packet you have the recommendation letters, the payments for the restitution, and also that $150 that was owed to you guys that I accidentally wrote out to agricultural. That was sent to you guys too, so I think that's going to be getting received today in the mail. Yeah, those online courses that I just read to you for the rehabilitation. I feel like I'm ready to start again, ready to get my license back, ready to get back in the pest control business, ready to do right and just go about my way and just make an honest living. That's what I would like for the board to recognize and allow me to have that opportunity again. In the meantime, I told you guys last year I was doing the security guard. I still was doing that. I moved up to supervising operations for events, buildings, helping their structure of how they manage or how they move or train the guys. I was able to also get my a license and my fire permit, so I was able to carry fire permit on certain events. I just been trying to just make a living in that and enjoying that.
Thank you very much. Mr. McDonough, do you have questions for petitioner?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Contreras, do you have any criminal convictions that this board is not aware of?
No.
You had one conviction back in 2011 for DUI.
Yeah.
Are there any current criminal charges pending against you?
No.
I noticed on your petition for reinstatement that you indicated your home address of 19197 Golden Valley, number 929 in Santa Clarita, California, 91387, which appears to me to be a UPS store. Why are you using that address for your home address?
That's where I get my mail. That's where I get
And I was able to add up the checks that you presented as evidence, and it appears that you have paid the restitution that you agreed to pay to the 4 people for the Newmark Avenue project.
Yes, sir. Including the 150 for the board.
Okay. That 150 check you, it appears, have made out to the structural pest control.
Yes, sir.
I guess my review of the documents, I was under the impression that check you sent initially in was made out to the county of Los Angeles, but sent it here. And I wonder if that check isn't really for the county of Los Angeles agricultural group as opposed to structural pest control board. So that may be something you want to discuss with Melissa Roberts.
I contacted Melissa yesterday, and she confirmed it.
Oh, okay, thank you. So you did receive a citation related to doing some structural pest control work after your license was surrendered in August 2016, and you admitted to doing that and paid a fine. Have you performed any structural pest control work since then?
No.
I'm reviewing the decision denying your last petition for reinstatement, which was last year. And one part of the decision essentially says that you did not demonstrate that you had learned to run a business or that you were any better organized, which is a significant consideration to the extent that you want to operate your own business. Besides taking the classes, can you demonstrate today how you are better prepared to properly operate a structural pest control business?
I mean, the courses that I take specifically are for running a business or business management, operations, organization skills. Company that I'm currently at, which is Protective Services, I help run their operations, and was hoping to get the recommendation letter from the owner of the company, but he's out of town. But I can email that to Melissa or whoever I need to get that. And yeah, I mean, I could run a pest control company.
There are a lot of your classes, if not all of them, were taken at Allison. Where is that?
Allison's an online school, so I took most of all the courses online. I was able to do that on my own time. Having 4 kids, juggling a lot. That was the best fit that I was able to perform and present to the board, so show some rehabilitation.
What did you learn through these courses that you weren't, that you weren't doing previously to having your license revoked?
I mean, honestly, there was some things that, you know, numbers wise of how to structure employees when I do get employees, again, how to delegate certain supervision. And I mean, a lot of it I knew. It helped refresh me, it helped remind me. You know, I made poor choices, and you know, just being on time, paying general liability. You know, I took that for granted. I was like, okay, if I can always get it because it's a 3-day notice, I'll go pay it so it gets back. Now, I wouldn't even play around with that. I know I gotta have it. It needs to be in place. Having licensed employees, that's a must. Never hire an unlicensed person again. And also disclosing, having the pesticide disclosures, letting the customers know exactly, you know, first recommendation, 10-team, second recommendation, locally treat or anything, but, you know, number one is putting the tent over the property. You know, just being organized, being on top of stuff. You know, I took everything for granted, like I said last year, you know, and it's just during the process of my license getting pulled and everything that I went through individually, financially, and with my family. You know, sometimes, unfortunately, with me, I had to learn the hard way, and that's exactly what happened. And now I've learned, and sometimes the best lessons you're going to learn is going through it in life, and that's exactly what happened to me.
Well, I do appreciate you providing proof and you're paying the restitution to the 4 people that are related to the Newmark property. The question I guess I would have is that you have paid those 1 day before today's hearing. Why has it taken you so long to pay back money that you owe to consumers?
Saving, salary on a security guard. In the beginning, it wasn't enough. You know, we lost our home. We had to go move in with our mother and father-in-law. You know, the times were tough. It's you know, and rightfully, what happened is what I deserved, but that's what took so long. I had to save up. There's a lot of money. Thinking the total of everything is, you know, almost $14,000-$15,000. At the end of it, it's a lot of saving money. But luckily, I was able to come to the crunch, and I mean, by the grace of God, it all came together. It came together yesterday, and I was able to go get it done, go get the UPS around, so it'd be there the next day. I have tracking numbers for you guys and make the copies for the checks, and yeah, that's the reason why.
You obviously feel a sense of accomplishment in having completed that. Do you have a sense of feeling that you've at least made whole the wrong that you did to those 4 people?
Absolutely. I feel accomplishment, and I mean, the money's a material thing that they got back that they deserve to get back. But I mean,
me becoming a better man, becoming a better person through this whole process, and really understanding what comes first and prioritizing, you know, definitely an accomplishment in itself too for me. I felt good writing those, signing those checks yesterday. It was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I do stand, I sit right now before the board, and I feel like I learned my lesson, paid my dues, did the time that was right for the punishment, and I feel like I'm gonna be an awesome pest control operator. If I'm allowed to get back in the industry. I've been doing this, I told you guys last time, since I was 19, since I got out of high school. It's not very difficult in my sense, but in a sense, there's procedures, and you gotta follow those procedures. And I went out of the pest control first time. I went into banking, and then I came back to get my field reps, and that's when I decided I wanted to get my operator's license. And I missed it. I was like, man, talking to people, servicing people. Not all my. I think last time you mentioned Yelp reviews. There's a lot of satisfied customers too. I stayed in business 2008 to 2016. Just right after the recession ended, so it was still a little bit, but there's a lot of good I did out there too, and I can continue that and keep it that way. Definitely, I definitely know I wouldn't be here. Get the license, I'm not going to be right sitting in this position for those same reasons, for any reasons.
So just kind of playing off of that, if the Structural Pest Control Board were to reinstate your operator's license, can you assure them that you will run your business and conduct your structural pest control company safely and competently?
Absolutely. And if inspections need to get done, where inspectors need to come down, check in on me on a regular basis, and anything like that. I mean, it would be a pleasure to have them. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm just running a right company and doing right.
And you mentioned you're still working as a security guard.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so about how long now have you been a licensed security guard?
Probably about like a year and a half, and I had my fire permit to hold a weapon. Probably about 6-8 months now.
And that's an open carry firearm permit. Have you received any disciplinary action relating to your work as a security guard?
No.
In my review of your classes, it appears a lot of these classes are geared towards business, running a business, and so forth, which obviously is a big part of running a structural pest control business. Have you had a chance since your license was revoked to take any classes or training or like continuing education to keep yourself knowledgeable regarding new advances or technology in the structural pest control field?
I mean, I still get magazines on the Pesco and things like that. I'm always reading. I took the pre-op licensing for the exam last year. I think if I plan to if I need to take it again, I'll go pay for it to go do another one. But I mean, I have so many family members that are in this industry that also own businesses in the same. I have families that have total probably like 3 or 4 companies. I know pest control. And I mean, one of the certificates that I'm proud of is just that I wanted to take was the business ethics, and because I thought that was really important.
Yeah, it appears that is a course that's on point with regards to those 2 projects. What are your plans if the board were to decide to reinstate your operator's license?
Yeah, just get started again. Everything.
Would you have your own? Would you look to open your own business?
Yeah.
I noticed in your in some of your letters, there's some discussion of some faith-based activity of church and so forth. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I mean, a lot of those charities were faith-based. They were church foundations, outreach to the community, helping homeless, helping underprivileged. The one for the disability wasn't. But yeah, just going down the path that I was 3 years ago obviously got me in this position. So I had to switch something up. I had to change something up. That you keep doing the same thing, and getting horrible results. I had to switch it up. So I mean, I was raised from a religious background, but recently got my family, got us going back to church, and just building a solid foundation. Not really for the board or anything like that or anybody. Just me personally, I needed to build my relationship, and that's kind of where that comes from.
I think you kind of answered this question. Let me make sure. Would you be willing to take the current structural pest control board's operator's examination, the most recent one, as a prerequisite should the board decide that they want to reinstate your license?
I wouldn't mind.
May I just have a second, Your Honor?
Certainly.
Mr. Contreras, if you were to get your license reinstated and start a business, do you anticipate having someone, like an office manager or someone that maybe is not involved in the actual structural pest control work, helping with the various paperwork that's involved in running any business?
Yeah, I mean, if I got busy, and had the resources to go ahead and make that happen, that's definitely a goal. I want to build a company. I want to build a company that the employees also prosper and are able to have a living as well. But yeah, definitely want to have somebody to take care of the organization and do the paperwork and stuff like that. But I'm sure in the beginning it won't be something that I could do it all myself.
I would ask if give me an opportunity here. If is there anything further that you would like to tell the board, to support your petition or your request to have your license, your operator's license reinstated?
I'm ready. I'm ready and eager, and I want to be a good asset to the pest control industry, and that's about it.
I do want to thank you for accommodating the change in location here and driving up from LA this morning. Essentially, Your Honor, I think that's the questions that I have.
Thank you very much, Mr. McDonough. I'm now going to provide an opportunity to board members to ask some questions. Mr. Turner.
Thank you. Just a few questions, Mr. Gonzalez. Congratulations on making restitution to the people that were injured. That means a lot to me. As a board member, we have an obligation to all the constituents of the state of California to make sure that they get their money's worth. Yes, they don't get defrauded. You had your license branch 3?
Yes, sir. That's the first license I had coming out of high school. I was a termite inspector for Terminix.
So you've been doing termite inspections only?
Yeah.
You don't have the branch 2?
I did get the branch 2, and I was doing branch 2 and branch 3, but I was mainly inspector for.
So you had branch 2, branch 3?
Mm-hmm. Operators? Yeah, not the operators. I had the field rep branch 2 and 3 at one point, and then came back to the pest control, got my field reps again, and then got my operators in the 3.
These courses that you take are very wonderful courses,
Thank you.
And I don't see anything here about any pesticide applications, IPM, integrated pest management courses. Have you taken anything in that?
Besides last year, that was the only pest control continuous hours. I think it was like 16 hours. I don't have that document with me, but it was the pre-op testing, and I passed all that.
I believe that was in the materials with the prior position, the last document.
One last question. Do you have a copy, have you seen a copy from the Special Pest Control Board Rules and Regulations, the new edition?
Not the new edition. I have the 2018 book at home.
The 2018?
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably the one, the new edition that we have on. If you don't have it, I recommend that you go stop by the office and see staff and get one. You have everything that you need to know. It's in that book.
Okay.
I carry it with me wherever I go to make a decision when I do termite inspections.
Okay.
And again, thank you very much for making the restitution and the effort to pay the individuals.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Tamayo.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Contreras, for these certificates, and I appreciate these do seem relevant based on the titles. Can you give me just sort of an estimate for how much time it took to complete each one of these?
The courses, some were 3 hours, some were 3 to 6, some took a few days. So during the time that if I'm still coaching my son, so coaching their team, my other kids recently got into track, so we would take them track practice. That was something I could piece, flip the laptop open, do some work, and then come back to it later that night or come back to it the next day. So they took some time. They were it was convenient for my lifestyle, for how I had everything arranged.
Sure. And the nature of them, did you have to, as you went through them, did you have to like answer questions or take some sorts of quizzes?
Yeah, great. Yeah. So there was
during each section there would be testing in between, and then I would have to pass those tests to move further on in the course. And then at the end of the course, there would be, depending on how long the course was, anywhere from 25 to 50 to 75 questions, and I would always have to pass with like a 70%. It doesn't say percentiles, but I was scoring high.
Sure. And then I guess each one of them cost a different amount. It sounds like. And what was the range of what you had to pay for these?
So for the courses, it would be anywhere from $20 to $40, in between that range. It also helped out with my budget.
And then if you wouldn't mind, if you could maybe just pick one of them and give me some examples of the concepts that you learned, whichever one you feel would be illustrative of the types of things that you learned.
I mean, the one that stuck out to me and was really like, you know, got me back in my place of where I should have been was the business ethics and sales. You know, the kind of misleading people and misleading people, not kind of, in with that job, and just going back to the business ethics was, you know, you treat people right, you do right business, it's gonna unfold naturally. And in the sales part, you don't necessarily need to upsell or anything like that. If you do the right thing, people are going to refer you. You know, and one thing was integrity in the business with this course. You know, that carries volumes. And that was one thing that stuck out in this course was the word integrity in the business, and that's definitely something I just want to have and just do.
And I think just one last question. So there's one. Well, were there any of them where that taught you like particular skills of how to be better organized and?
Yeah, there was one of the courses. I think it was the operational one. The fundamentals of operation management. Basically, just putting things in order, so you stick to them, and that way you don't fall out of line. Because one thing I would do is I would procrastinate. I would put things off and wouldn't have a system. This lets me know, okay, go ahead and write up a system. If I need to send out turn my reports every 10 days, have that on the system, have it calendarized. I already put that in place, so that's already getting sent out. I know what day I'm going to send those out. Nothing's getting left behind. If I need to order pest stamps, you know, don't wait until you're all out. You know, wait until you order another batch when you have still a few months left, so you're not playing catch up all the time.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, do you have any questions? Mr. Good, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Thank you, John. Mr. Contreras, first let me congratulate you on all your hard work and thank you for your community service. It sounds pretty exceptional what you've been doing and with your kids. It sounds like you both got a lot out of that. I just kind of have one question, just kind of reflecting back what got you in trouble. And one portion of it, what really got you in trouble that disturbs me the most is you using and employing unlicensed individuals. So looking back at that, explain your thoughts today as you sit here before us today and just a little bit about using unlicensed individuals.
I'll explain it, and it's not an excuse. I grew up from not much, so the unlicensed people that I had were probably they were friends that I grew up with, and give them a job, help them out, which I did them wrong by doing that, because I should have just went through the proper procedures and getting them licensed and giving them more than just a job, giving them a career in their own license and what they can hold and take forever. That's one thing that's just always on my mind. It's just that, I talk with it with my family all the time. Just that would, it has to be a licensed person, or it's not a big problem setting someone up to get the license. It doesn't take that long, and if they like the business and they pass it, they have their own field in this, in this industry. So, yeah, that was my thinking back then. But definitely something I wouldn't risk at this point.
Okay, yeah, there's so many things that go wrong with having an unlicensed individual.
Yeah.
But it actually puts them in jeopardy too, because they're not properly trained. And puts you at risk and the consumer at risk. So, thank you for elaborating on that. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. McDonough. Did any further questions occur to you?
You know what, I don't, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any questions by other board members?
No.
Thank you. Do you have anything else you would like to add that we haven't already discussed that you want the board to know about?
No, I just, just hearing you guys say, thank you for taking care of the stuff I should have took care of a while ago. Mr. McDowell, right, or Mr. McDonough, you said it best, just that accomplishment. It gives me a sense of purpose again. It was a lonely road, which I put myself in these past few years, and I feel like I'm slowly getting out, and that I've gotten out of that spot. And to hear you guys, I respect your guys' opinion, what you guys say, and I just want to get back in this industry and just do my part, do my small part.
Thank you. And did you have any other witnesses to testify on your behalf today? All right. Thank you very much. That then concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is now closed. The case is submitted for decision, and we're off the record in this matter.
Thank you guys.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so I'll then just say that the board will, after a 5-minute break, will be convening in a closed session. This will be pursuant to subdivision C3 of section 11126 of the Government Code to consider the reinstatement petitions, proposed disciplinary actions, and stipulated settlements. And the room will be cleared for that session, except for persons that have an official purpose in the closed session. Thank you very much.
Reconvene this meeting. Let's do. Okay, so Susan, review the review and approval of minutes, please, of the two board meetings.
So, do we have a motion to adopt? Do you have any changes?
I don't know. I jumped ahead of myself. I apologize. Okay. Did everybody here get a chance to review the minutes to the two meetings?
I move to reset Darren's brain.
Please, somebody's got to. Any comments on the minutes? No? Any comments from the public on the minutes for those two meetings? Okay. So do we have a motion to accept?
So move.
Second.
Okay, so apparently Dave won the arm wrestling contest there. And then Mike did a second. That was Dave.
Oh, and you did a second.
Durant. Mike. Any public from the comment on that? Okay, so do we need a roll call vote, correct? Okay.
Darren Van Steenwyck,
Yes.
Dave Twino,
Yes.
Curtis Good,
Yes.
Mike Duran.
Excellent. Okay, so moving through this, we have the applicator's occupational analysis. We have a town hall. We have a town hall meeting that's going to happen in October. In the board packet here, it has October 23rd between 9 and 1. That's actually going to be happening just before our October board meeting. And the purpose is to have the discussions kind of have the formal discussions in a public setting that industry has been commenting on the applicator's test. Knowing that the applicator's test is based off of the job analysis OA from that has been developed, and so so OPES, Office of Professional Examination Services, will be basically starting that whole process over again and updating the OA, which then we can give us what industry feels is a more accurate representation for what the applicators do, which then we can get better kind of background information to create a more accurate test as industry feels, or at least representing what applicators do. We will be definitely passing this on to the Pest Control Operators California for this date and time to try to get as many people there as possible. Now, just for sake of conversation, 4 of us cannot show up to that, correct? Okay. How many of us can show up? 2? Okay. Okay. So with that said, we will be very much asking for industry participation, in that event, because we can't get all of us, all as board members to show up.
I'm just going to comment from a PCOC perspective, if you want, Darren. Of course, the board meeting materials for this meeting is on our website, so you could refer anybody to this draft that OPES already created.
Okay.
Give them an idea of background, how it's going to be presented, and the layout and everything.
Excellent. And then I will be forwarding this on to Sarah at PCOC as well, so that way she can work to get the word out for that. Does anybody have from the board here? Anybody have any comments or questions on that specific topic? How about from the public? Awesome. Okay, moving on to our next discussion topic, the executive officer's report. Susan.
So, licensing statistics, results, WDO stats, those items in your board packages. If you have questions, I will try and answer them for you. As far as examination development, there isn't anything in your board packages. That is just an ongoing process where all examination questions are being reviewed. Any comments that OPEDS receives, well, any comments that PSI receives on the exams, those are shared with OPEDS, and then OPEDS goes back and looks at those questions and makes adjustments or pulls those questions, etc. So, if you have questions on the stuff that's in your board packages, I will try and answer them for you.
I do. What happened with the field rep passing rate?
You should have let me guess. I could have guessed. We did produce a new exam that came out May 1st. With a new exam, you're always going to see the trend where the passing rate is going to drop. We immediately contacted OPES. They have already looked at comments made on the new FR exam that came out on May 1st. They've already pulled a bunch of questions, and candidates are not being, those questions are not being scored. So the FR passing rate is already coming up. And then with the next version of the exam that comes out, those questions that are questionable will get thrown back into the bank to be reviewed again at future workshops.
Okay. So okay.
So it did drastically drop on May 1st, but even the results for June, it was already going back up.
Okay. Yeah, because that is a significant change
Yes.
in that. Any comments on that at all from anybody? Just me? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Comments from the public on that?
The applicator passing rate was 76%.
The applicator passing rate went up significantly, but then also looking at the operator passing rate compared to the other ones, is that the same? Is that the same reason?
Yes. New exam on May 1st.
Okay. Excellent. Explains that. All the questions I have on that. If you have anything else. Sorry, Susan, you can keep going in your executive officer's report if you have anything else.
I was going to introduce. I reported at the April board meeting that we were hiring a new person in our enforcement unit, Ollie Glassner. She was in the audience earlier, but she's not now. So she did come on May 1st. She found this morning very, very interesting. She said she has a ton of questions for me, but she's worked out wonderfully. She previously worked for years with Dave Skelton and another individual in our office. So that's been a really good fit. We do have Michelle Tom in the room. Michelle, you want to stand up? From Allen West Santa Clara County Agricultural Commissioner's Office. So I think Michelle has some comments that she wants to make later on, some items, but she is here with us. And then, of course, Peggy and a few other faces you know in the audience.
Fantastic, thank you.
That's it, unless you have questions for me.
I don't. Anybody have any questions for Susan? No. How about from the public? Questions for Susan? I just I have to ask it. Okay. So the research update. It looks like that some projects have started, and it looks like that they are kind of moving, beginning to move through some of their, some of their work. Reading the progress reports. Some are further along than others, but to be expected. There's nothing really that I would say that in my mind raises any significant red flags, considering they're all in their early stages. Is there any comments from the board members on the research reports, the research report updates? Nope. How about from the public? Okay. But moving through the agenda, we do have to vote on. We've been told that the board has to approve staff changes or personnel changes within the grant that will be working on the grants. And so we have two that we have to vote on. One is for Dr. Satsui with Berkeley. It looks like there'll be one person essentially has moved on, and she's getting her PhD. She's moved on. He has now replaced her with somebody else. A postdoc, Maria Tony, and so we have to approve that. So can I get? Is there any discussion on that topic? Okay, we have a motion. Can I get do we have a second? Discussion? Any discussion from the public? Okay. Susan?
Darren Van Steenwyck,
Yes.
Dave Tamayo,
Yes.
Curtis Good,
Yes.
and Mike Duran.
Okay, and then we have one more to approve. The next one is with Dr. Che. He has, again, somebody that will be replacing. It used to be Dr. Tay, and now it will be Ms. Park and on his staff working on it. Can I get a motion to approve that?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Discussion from the board. Discussion from the public. Okay, Susan?
Darren Van Steenwyck,
Yes.
Dave Tamayo,
Yes.
Curtis Good,
Yes.
and Mike Duran.
Yes.
Excellent. So now we moving right along through the agenda. Discussions on regulations. So Susan, did you want to kind of handle this one, specifically 1970.4? Start with 1970.4, please.
No, I'm going to defer that to Dave or Sabina.
Thank you for saying you're going to defer it as opposed to just saying no and ending it there. I appreciate that.
Do you want me to handle this? Okay. So, as you know, you guys have been asking about this one for a while. Finally decided to bring you guys the language that Sabina worked up to solve this problem. And I believe Peggy and Michelle have some input in addition to what's in the board packages. So, I guess turn it over to them and see what they have to say about the language and go from there.
Okay.
So, sorry. What you have in your board packet is what we originally came up with, and help with Robert also.
Mhm.
And then the one with the red, you got passed out today. I believe if there's any more in the back, I'm not sure. Oh,
Yeah, they all have it.
They are,
Mhm.
everybody's got it. Okay. And then those were the additional from LA County.
Mhm.
Okay, those are the additional edits received from LA County.
Okay.
On our original language, and then I hear there might be some other potential additional suggestions today. Did you want to take this version first? Do you want to hear everything and then discuss it all?
Oh, I'd like to hear everything and then we can discuss it. Please.
Great.
Please, so we ask that you come to the table, make sure the microphones are on, and then identify yourself with name and organization that you represent, and then we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Peggy Byerly, Department of Pesticide Regulation, but I am not representing my department. I am only clarifying the red font LA County initial feedback. The counties did not receive the draft on these changes only just barely a few days. So what you're seeing in front of you from LA is not an in-depth analysis, but they wanted to at least highlight some things that caught their attention when they read this first draft for your consideration. But since that's the part in writing, I'd like to defer to Michelle for the comments from the Bay Area counties before we go any farther in this, please.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Tome, and I'm a Deputy Agricultural Commissioner with Santa Clara County Division of Agriculture. And like Peggy alluded to, that we saw these just a few days ago. And so when I saw the proposed changes, I forwarded it to my counterparts in the Bay Area counties, and they all were alarmed by some of the language proposed in here. And they thanked me for coming in here because they couldn't make it. So I know that Marin, Alameda, and Contra Costa contacted me directly, and they concurred with my suggestions. And what I do agree with what LA has put in here, and I think what we have concerns with is that they wanted to get rid of the permissive language of may and substitute it with shall. Because other than that, it's just a suggestion and it's not enforceable. So we would prefer that you put shall back in there. And the other part that I had concern with is the electronic submission of the notice, both the pre and the after notice. And I understand companies want to go paperless. You know, it looks really great on paper, pardon the pun. But the problem that we run into is that a lot of complaints that get routed to our office is because apartment tenants have no idea someone's going to be coming into their apartment and applying pesticides. There's always a breakdown in communication, and all of our offices receive complaints every year from apartment tenants. We also have, it's a little bit more on the rare side, but we also have homeowners that call and say that we've gotten this door hanger on my door and I did not contract for this spray service. They evidently came into my backyard and sprayed around my home. What is this? And so a lot of times we'll talk to them and let them know, you know, this is the name of the pesticide. In this case, it's a pyrethroid. It's a low toxicity, you know, what it does, and it's going to take care of your ants. And so a lot of times homeowners are like, okay, well, I guess I got a free service. And so we'll contact the company and just say, hey, FYI, don't charge your other customer. And in this case, what they've done is they've got the right house number, wrong street, or we've got the right street, wrong number. And many times the homeowner's like, okay, free service. But then there's some that are really deeply disturbed, that they are cancer patients, they're chemically sensitive, and so, you know, the company has gone through and gone out and steam cleaned their yards. So, you know, these door hangers, these consumers and these receivers of services have no idea these pesticides have been applied if it weren't for that door hanger. And so that's why I really want to lean away from the electronic service, because it won't reach that tenant in the apartment complex, and it certainly won't reach the homeowner that got their house sprayed accidentally. And it also, you know, the person that contracted the service is going to be paying for the service, and they never received it. And granted, these are the exception rather than the rule. I don't think this happens very often. We only get a couple each year. But I think that what we hear about is probably the tip of the iceberg, because we don't hear about every application that's out there. But so that's why I wanted to just bring that forward today. That when they say electronic, I would move to strike that from the language, and I would also move, like in LA is pointed out with their red copy, remove may and put shall.
Thank you. Thank you for your input on that.
So none of the board members have questions for what Michelle shared? I don't want to jump in unless. Okay, thank you.
I like the suggestions on the challenge. Electronic versions are maybe not back there. The industry grows. We find it really much better form of communication.
Yeah, in some cases it is. And
is your microphone on? Oh, I'm sorry. No problem.
Sorry about that. I do agree with your suggestions here instead of may and having shall. But as to the electronic versions, I think it's a much better form of communication, much more reliable, at least from a business owner standpoint. You know, if I have, you know, dozens of guys out there, at least I know that as a company we've sent that all out, not relying just on them handing one out. As to the instances that you just referenced, you know, those could absolutely happen, and I guess in that case it's probably a benefit.
well, and maybe if with your consideration that instead of you know, the outdoor applications, maybe you can have electronic service, but I think when you go inside, maybe that always has to be a door hanger when it's an apartment kind of situation. And maybe you can tailor it, so if it's a home, you have permission, you're going to have the electronic, you're going to have permission to get inside.
Yeah.
So I think you might be able to get away with electronic that way. But when you have an apartment kind of situation, I think you're going to have to go by the door hangers.
I understand. Yeah, I think that's kind of individual. I know my company, we work a lot with the managers, and so we do have to do diligence there. Make sure,
I understand definitely where you're coming from. One of the reasons, just as a little background, one of the reasons why industry is pushing for this is because it is a growing demand, from the customers. That we have actually much growing. We have a significant number of our customers that don't want anything left hanging there, that don't want any piece of paper left on their property. So a lot of the times it's actually due to a safety reason. They don't want somebody driving down the road and seeing that there's a piece of paper on their door, because it signifies that potentially that somebody's not home. as well as we have a lot of customers that don't read anything that leave there, and so as a result of that, they've asked that the best way to communicate with them, is via electronically, and they can then pass it around whoever they need to, appropriately. I definitely see your point about trying to address multifamily housing and a tenant landlord situation. Maybe we can work with legal on trying to craft a solution for that. But I'm with Curtis on this, and completely. I don't necessarily agree with completely striking that part of the language. But I think there is a potential solution we can come up with to address the scenarios that you're addressing. You're talking about.
Yeah, in like that case, maybe single family homes, you can maybe get away with electronic, but then multi complex, and you have a different language, but it's going to go back to the drawing board. But I think that it would be smart to do that.
Well, I'm sure that legal is taking copious notes to address this.
Well, I think that the electronic notification is something there's a record that it's occurred and that it went to the address that it was supposed to go to. It strikes me that if you're just leaving paper notices on somebody's storefront, there's really no record of that. Once that gets thrown away or discarded, then there's no way that it can be confirmed that was done. I do have a concern. I think there may be a typo under 1970.41, and I guess it's the second sentence. It says complexes with 4 or fewer than 5 units will have each affected unit, and it seems to me that there's something wrong with that construction of that first phrase there. Complexes with 4 or fewer than 5 units, so I'm thinking something was intended to be taken out.
That's part of the original language, I think, and part of one of our challenges in redoing this entire section and making it into 3 sections is that trying to make it more readable and more concise. So we'll definitely take a look at that when we go back through this again. It's a work in progress, and it was quite the monster to try to. It's on.
Yeah, anyway,
that
I
better?
understand. So it's because that just actually doesn't.
I think just 5 should be stricken there.
Yeah. So we'll if the board would like us to go back, come back with some solutions to possibly address single family versus apartment type of situations. We can do that and bring it back at the next meeting. We can include the shall language if it sounds like you're supportive of that. We can look at that 4 versus 5 unit issue, and then whatever else you guys come up with.
So, Michelle, I have a question for you. Is it apartments or is it tenant landlords that you would feel would be better? Like was it like multifamily housing? Or is it more kind of tenant landlord relationship when the landlord hires, but the tenant, the landlord hires for the service, but the tenant may or may not know about it?
I think it's primarily the apartment complexes that we've heard about.
Okay.
Is the problems. Very rare, but we've had it where the tenant has contracted service and the company didn't realize that they were a tenant, not the landlord, and so the landlord stepped in and like, what the heck? Like,
it actually happens more than you think. Yeah.
We don't hear about those very often.
Okay. Okay, that's a good clarifying note. Mike, do you have any comments on that?
No.
Okay. Okay. Peggy?
Yes, I'll jump back in now. I've lived in a number of apartment complexes, so I'm speaking personally again, not for the Department of Pesticide Regulation. And I, being knowledgeable, carefully looked through my new lease with my 8538 notice to make sure everything's there. But the reality is for tenants who've been in an apartment complex 2 years or more. I'm fairly confident most of them never remember they got this notice. So if apartment complexes are on the regular service and for whatever reason the tenant isn't checking their electronic, they're not going to remember that they got an original 8538. I do personally agree with LA County asking for the red font shall, because the consumer protective element, the counties can't support reputable industry in enforcing it when it's an advisory. You can, you can't, it won't hold up if the county tries to pursue civil penalty. So adding back in the LA County suggested in the 1970.41 and .42, the specific about the tenant and the individual unit is because when they did their quick run through of this earlier draft, it was no longer clear to them that it would be enforceable about a tenant getting the pre and the post notice about the application within their unit.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's enlightening as to the different interpretations, right? Because the interpretation of this is going to help with the enforceability of it.
Orange did not provide any written comments, but they did say I could mention that they like the concept of this being split into the 3 sections. They felt that for newer inspectors as well as newer applicators, it would be much easier to go back and refresh their memory once we get the language clear on the requirements. But the concept of it, Orange also liked very much.
Excellent. Any other comments from the public? I'm sorry, before Michelle or Peggy, you guys exit the table, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, we just look forward to seeing the proposed changes, and we'll be watching for them. I would just hope that the commissioners have a little bit more time to provide feedback, because a lot of them were taken off guard. They didn't know that this was happening.
Well, and they can still send in feedback. Like, as we're working, send it to the board, and they'll forward it to me, and it's going to be a work in progress until the fall, easily.
Yeah, this is kind of this is the first time this language has been published. It is there will be lots of chances to provide feedback.
Yeah, so you can have them send me whatever, Michelle, and I'll make sure that it gets heard at one stage and the other when we're reviewing this stuff.
Okay. Great.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. No, Todd's gonna.
A quick comment. I think Tom does too.
Please.
Todd Vadine, Terminix. In looking at 1970.4, the stricken language under D, the last sentence, any pest control servicing done within a tenant's apartment requires that the tenant be notified according to section 8538. I don't see that sentence in 1970.41. I think that's a very good sentence to include in the new language.
Well, that's actually that has been added in as part of the kind of what LA County has added in.
Okay, and I have not seen that, so
no worries.
I don't know if it's there, but I'd also strengthen it by saying regardless of number of units, so that it's more than 5 or less, 4 or less, that involves any number of units in a multiple family dwelling.
Okay.
That's my comment. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
No, he addressed it.
Okay. Any other comments on 1970.4, the rework that we're currently looking at? Awesome. Moving on to the next one. This was going to be 1950, the CEU rework.
Yeah, so I think the last meeting, I told you guys we had a meeting with DPR scheduled for May 15th to go over the federal applicator standards and how that was going to affect the entire CE proposal that we've been trying to get done for a while. So after that meeting, we were advised by DPR to hold off on implementing the entire CE proposal because it looks like there's going to be some changes coming down the pike for the federal standards. Specifically, how we require ID for correspondence courses, online courses. So there could be some significant changes, and because we've been kicking the can down the road so long with this, we thought it'd be a good idea to present this proposal, and we can move forward with this without having to go back and change things once we get more clarity about what the federal standards are going to require as far as ID and that. So what this is a blanket increase for branch 2 field reps and operators and applicators in their IPM requirement. And that's the only change that would be made. We would take 4 hours from the rules and regs requirement, move that over to IPM, and go forward with that. I think we could implement this fast, and I think it accomplishes a lot of what the committee wanted anyway. So that way we don't have to wait longer. We can move forward with it right away. So that's the reason for this. Sort of a scaled down version of the proposal we've been talking about for a number of years now.
We thought this kind of got to the heart of what the Community Education Committee really wanted, was to increase the IPM hours and reduce regulation hours when licensees are having so much difficulty finding rules and reg classes.
So I'm glad that you're proposing moving forward with the change in the categories and all that. I'm confused about what's not being put in here. There was something that was not being put in here in deference to potential, I guess, testing requirements. Is that correct?
Well, I guess in a large sense, course approval requirements, right? And the larger CE proposal was changing the names of the categories, putting in specific language about what belongs in those categories. And the intent of this is not to not do those other things. It's simply to get moving forward with the increase of IPM hours, which we viewed as the heart of the proposal. I didn't want to move forward with the course approval portion of it because there's going to be language coming from DPR in the next couple of months. So I didn't think starting to notice a reg change when we're going to get new language that has to go in would be a good idea. You'd have to either incorporate it or abandon it and start over again. So that's why. Does that answer your question, Dave?
Sort of. It sounds like that there's uncertainty as to what the course approval requirements are going to be coming down from US EPA first, and then whatever DPR's response is to those changes. Does that capture?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. If I go in and start making the changes to the course approval requirements, DPR is going to be coming right on top of that and saying it's not necessarily the exact same things that DPR is going to be making recommendations on, but we'd be in the midst of changing one code section and then getting amendment recommendations on the same code section while we're in the rec process. So we can either wait for that to come from DPR and move forward with the whole proposal at that time, or we can move forward with this and still not abandon the other changes, but at least I mean, I just know the way these things have gone. It seems like, it's been several years now. And
Are the EPA changes, those are set right now? Those are regulations that have already been established? Because I remember we had delayed in deference to that they were making some changes anyway. So those are, my understanding is those are set now, right?
Yes.
They've made theirs, and now DPR is in the process of.
We need to present. We're required to present a plan how we're going to be in compliance with the federal requirements, and that's what we're working with DPR on.
Okay.
And DPR is still trying to get clarification on the federal level as well, on some of the requirements.
Right. So and it's going to require approval at the federal level once we submit our plan, and I could just see it dragging out a little bit.
So this represents progress that we think is not going to be affected by changes.
That's right. Yeah, I know that this is not going to be changed by the federal standards.
Okay.
Yeah, that answers my question. Because just to confirm, if theoretically we move forward with this, it doesn't matter what DPR does. That even if we want to change the names and the specific course requirements or the how we categorize it, we can still operate under this specific.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. What do we think? Here's a better question. What are you asking for right now?
So we would be asking for you to, approve this language and authorize us to move forward with a rulemaking package.
That really long motion, I have to read this like a paragraph long. But you,
I'm just making sure that we're all in this. That
right.
When we comment, like what are we specifically going to comment
on? Unless you edit anything here today, we'll take this language. We'll start working on a regulatory packet with the required documents, and then we'll start the review process.
Okay. Okay.
Including a public comment period, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Comments from the board.
Well, I think we should move forward on the language as David's presented. So what we can move forward on, really appreciate moving forward.
Okay.
Yes, my only concerns is, and I understand that we're being asked to be much greener and with the IPM approaches, and I'm all good with raising those if that, but what I am a little disappointed is taking 8 hours of rules and regs and dropping them to 4. I think by far we have more licensees before this board because of rules and regulations issues. So I would be concerned in diminishing those hours. That's my only concern about this.
Okay. Mike, do you have any comments on this?
I'm just trying to focus and put it all together in my mind as to actually what we are trying to accomplish here. I think that we should continue going forth with the program that we have available, so that there will be no time lapse. But by the same token, we have to work with the Department of DPR. So I'm still trying to grasp it all in my mind.
Right, you're going to see additional language later when DPR and everybody gets back with us with exactly what specific changes we have to make. But we know for sure this won't be affected by it. You're going to probably see the DPR stuff and all that stuff probably multiple times. And it might be a little bit more extensive than today's.
I just wanted to respond to Curtis's concern about, that we have so many folks who are here because of rules and regs. I don't think it's the continuing education, whatever the content of that is, it keeps people on the, aware of what the rules and regulations are that apply. I mean, they have an ongoing requirement to understand the rules and regulations, whatever changes. And the way it's written, it says, okay, if there's new things, but that doesn't, then they should be apprised of that and are committee that developed that recommended reducing that indicated that there many times weren't enough recent changes to fill up the 4 hours. So I think it's the important thing is that holding people responsible for not keeping themselves up for it. I don't think CEs is the really even the best way to make sure that people are obeying the rules and regs.
Well, I think in that same vein, then, if that's the case, I mean, I can't think of the last time that somebody's been before us because they haven't followed IBM practices. So, from an educational standpoint, I think the industry is doing very good in IPM. And I understand, I'm not opposed to that. I'm just concerned about diminishing those hours because it just seems by far this board has a lot more issues. So I'm just concerned with diminishing those hours. I understand that they're supposed to know it. I just don't like the idea of diminishing it in a 3-year period what those additional 4 hours they might lose.
Yeah, and one of the key points that this, or key components that this, that hopefully we'll get to within the DPR section, or the DPR language, is the clarity as to what counts as the rules and regs and what counts as IPM. Because again, what we were able to determine, as work through the committee, that there's a lot of hours out there that are considered rules and regs, which should not be. And that part of the conversation that got us to where this is now is because we find all of those, the time just filling rules and regs hours with hours that shouldn't be, end up distracting from what we should be talking about. And so hopefully what it will do is that this process, while it's has been a very long process, will provide that clarity, which will hopefully be able to give industry much more direction as to and be able to focus on specific topics and subjects that they should be, versus just trying to fill time. That was the intent, right? Of course, they say that the road to hell is paved in good intentions, but we will see where that leads us. At least that's the thought process. Good or bad? That's where we got to. Okay, questions from the public. Comments from the public on this.
Again, sorry. Vanine Terminix, I said this last time, I'm going to say it again, especially based on what we saw this morning. I'm with Curtis, I'm with Dave. I don't think the reduction of rules and regs requirements is a good idea. I still think, and I'm all for the IPM, if we talk about one license needing 16 hours to renew, 4 of those rules and regs as it stands in the language, and 6 of them IPM, there's still a gap there that needs to be filled. I think it can be filled with additional rules and regs. Thank you.
Those hours are already, this is simply a shifting of 4 hours from rules and regs to IPM. All the other requirements stay there. And one of the mandates from the committee was that there wouldn't be an increase in overall hours. So that it's got to come from somewhere,
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so can I get a motion to accept this language? Oh, I'm sorry. Sabina, would you mind creating the motion for us?
All right.
Or reading the motion to us?
Yeah, I will definitely be reading it. I move that we approve the proposed text for a 45-day public comment period and delegate to the executive officer the authority to adopt the proposed regulatory changes if there are no adverse comments received during the public comment period, to follow established procedures and processes in doing so, and also delegate to the executive officer the authority to make any technical and non-substantive changes that may be required in completing the rulemaking file.
I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No discussion, I just would like to understand it all. final draft done, so I can actually see it and visualize it in my mind.
You're gonna see this plenty more, I have a feeling.
A few more times, I'm sure.
Yeah, and like the public comment period, we're gonna take more public comment at that time in those 45 days. And then, we might make some more edits with the language at that time also. So there's a lot of opportunity for more feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, before we vote, any more comments from the public on this? Okay, Susan?
Darren Van Steenbeck?
Yes.
Dave Twino?
Yes.
Curtis Good?
Yes.
Yes.
And Mike Dran?
Yes.
Excellent. So moving forward to the next regulation update, WDO inspection and completion activity fee. Susan, is this the one you're going to take this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we're still moving forward with our WDO additional $1 fee increase. That emergency regulation package is currently still with legal?
No.
It hasn't left Ryan yet, hasn't it?
Dave has it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have.
okay. So then Dave has it to accept Ryan's edits as the chief of legal?
Correct, and then he'll send it back, and then we'll
Get it to agency?
Get it to agency. Yeah.
Okay. So we're still going forward with that. Obviously, we didn't get a July 1st, 2019 effective date, which would have been ideal. But we're hoping that it may be effective at this point. October 1st, 2019 is what our hope is.
Okay.
So that's just an update for you on where we are with that WDO additional $1 fee increase.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the additional dollar on top of the 50 cent. That's because we already approved 50 cents, and then it's going to, so the emergency regulations are for the additional dollar on top of that.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Any comments from the board or the public on that? Okay. AB 2138. I assume Sabina, you're going to handle this one, or is it going to be Susan?
That package is moving through the process at DCA. Currently, I believe it's in budgets.
Okay. Would you mind, for the sake of the board and then the public, just do a quick, a 2-second summary on what exactly that is?
If you recall, AB 2138 made a lot of changes to a lot of business professions code sections that has to do with how you can deny licenses to people based on convictions. And we've been talking about this on and on and on for probably a year or more. It made some different changes, everything between how far back you can look at convictions through what type of convictions, and then whether or not something has been expunged. So we had to, everybody at DCA had to update their regs. So it's something that's required. So those changes are working its way through. They're very standard. They're basically the same as most other boards are doing. And then and any other changes to your disciplinary guidelines. But they're working their way through. And hopefully by maybe January, I don't know. Yeah. I'm thinking, you'll hear stuff back in the fall, I'm sure.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on that? Public? Okay. So going on to legislative update. AB 613, regulatory fees.
Okay, AB 613 was a proposal by Assemblymember Lowe, and that was to increase regulatory fees within Department of Consumer Affairs tied to the Consumer Price Index. The last hearing was scheduled for July 1st, and that was postponed by committee. The hearing before that was on June 6th, and that was also postponed. So I'm not sure exactly where this legislative bill is at this time. It may be getting pushed out to next session.
Okay. Okay. AB 1788. Last I heard, that has gone through, that passed through the Assembly, and it has passed through the first two committees in the Senate. It now has to go through appropriations in the Senate. There has been a few amendments to it. There is, I know that this topic specifically, not only within the media, but within the Capitol, has been, there's a lot of talk about it. So we will see essentially what, where it ends up and what specifically, it looks like if and when it does end up somewhere. I do know that, or my impression is, and maybe Peggy can speak to this or not, being DPR's representative, or Alicia doing DPR's representative here, the DPR is doing reevaluation on second generation anticoagulants. My impression is that they will be continuing to do that regardless of where this bill ends up. And so I do know that, or my impression is that the funding that this board has given Dr. Quinn will be actually looking, DPR will be looking to that project as part of their reevaluation for that. At least that's been my impression. I don't know, the representative from DPR, if you have any comments on that? No, you sure? Okay. You could make something up, but really it wouldn't. Okay. But yeah, that's last I heard, that's where that bill is at. And then Susan, you Senate Bill 53.
Sweeney, you want to chime in with that one?
I just know that one's in appropriations right now. And I know they've tried in previous sessions to get a very similar bill through, I think, 2 other times. But now it's in appropriations. I do know that DCA's budget analysis of the bill did speak to a lot of additional cost, because what it would do is any advisory committee right now who can meet with 2 members would then have to have it be a noticed meeting. It would hurt a lot of really small boards that have little working committees, and it would increase their costs. So I looked it up this morning, but it's in appropriations now.
Okay. So we will see where that one ends up. Any comments from the board on any of those? Comments from the public? Okay. Hearing none of those. Future agenda items. I would assume that we'll get updates on their specifically the 2 regulatory packages that we are working on.
1970 for sure. We'll bring back some edits, and then the continuing education will add to an update, and then 2138 regs an update, as well as you'll get a notice when the emergency regulations are approved, but we'll probably include that as well.
Okay, very good. Anything else we want to see in future meetings? Items from the public.
Yes, for the October, I would ask that at least a generic DPR updates be added to the October agenda so that we can come in and talk a little bit more of the status of DPRs, part of the EPA certification and training and all of that, because we'll definitely have some things more to talk about and share with you all.
Fantastic.
Peggy, should we put it on the agenda at every meeting? I didn't know about Southern California, but we can just do it as a standard if you'd like.
Let me talk to Leslie and she's our lead on the EPA CMT in our agency, and one of us can get back to you.
Okay, good.
Okay, anything else, specific topics that would like to be discussed? Okay, I'm sure something will come up between now and then, but wanted to also make sure that County Ag knows that we will be, just continuing to discuss 1970.4, and I'm sure that any sort of communication that needs to happen with you, we will ensure that we do that in whatever way that we can as the board, and because we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page with that, and everybody is very clear and understands the direction and what is best for the consumer, because that is the best for that is the purpose of this board, is to protect the consumer. So we want to make sure that everybody here is spoken for. Okay, board calendar. Where are we at?
So the next one is scheduled for October 23rd and 24th. We do have, it's a little ways out, but I had to go ahead and make dates for the occupational analysis town hall. So that is scheduled for the 23rd morning from 9 to 1. I'm hearing that we've got possibly 4 applications right now for reinstatements. So that will, excuse me, that will probably be the afternoon of the 23rd, and then maybe open session on the 24th. It's kind of a little ways out to tell exactly what the calendar is going to look like. But for sure, the applicator town hall is on the 23rd at 9 o'clock here.
So at that point in time, we should be anticipating a 2-day meeting versus a 1-day meeting then.
I think so, with 4 possible reinstatements.
Yeah, well, and with the town hall.
Right.
Okay.
That kind of takes up the whole, all of Wednesday.
Okay.
The next meeting after that is your March meeting that we consolidated the January and April. And so your next meeting is March, here in Sacramento, March 11th and 12th. Right now, we're just planning for 2 days in case we need an afternoon and a whole day, but we'll know more in the future.
Okay.
And then that takes us to July.
Okay. What do you guys think for July?
And that'll be in Southern California. Yeah.
Dave?
Like the week of the 13th, any of those days would work for me. That'd be the second full week.
What do you think? Yeah. So 15th, 16th?
Wednesday,
Southern California?
or Tuesday, Wednesday. I wasn't sure what the preference was anymore.
Dave, what's your preference on that? Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday?
I don't have a preference.
Let's do
Tuesday, Wednesday.
I cannot be there second Tuesdays. I have a prior commitment. So Wednesday and Thursday will be perfect for me.
How about the week before?
The 7th, 8th?
Yeah, the week before, I can do it Tuesday.
Extended vacations from 4th of July.
I don't know. I'm still trying to get through this 4th of July. The one we just had.
That's a long recovery.
It is a long recovery. What do you think, Curtis?
That's more likely to have conflicts for me, so that's...
Okay, let's do 7th, 8th.
All right.
Okay.
What were those dates again?
July 7th, 8th of 2020.
In SoCal.
Excellent. I think that's it. Call this meeting adjourned. Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody have any public comment from on the meeting schedule we just discussed? Okay, meeting's adjourned.